Welcome to The Digital Shift. We are your hosts, Jessica Green
and Natasha Roberson. Together, we are here to help you build a tech-savvy empire and take your business to the next level.
If you're an entrepreneur, social marketer, or business owner, ready to scale smarter, not harder, this is the podcast for you.
Every week, we bring you expert insights, actionable strategies, and the latest trends to help you infuse tech into your business so you can automate, optimize, and grow.
From mastering automation and creating high-converting systems to building authentic customer connections, we cover everything you need to shift your business into higher gear.
So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and get ready to make your digital shift.
Let's do this. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to The Digital Shift. We are your hosts, Jessica Green and Natasha Roberson. And today we're diving into the game-changing world of business automation. If you're ready to streamline, scale, and work smarter, this episode is definitely for you. We're going to explore how automation can transform your business, covering everything from saving time to enhancing customer experiences. We're going to discuss key areas where automation can make a huge difference, share practical tips for getting started, and break down what tools are out there to help you succeed. We have the tool for you. Hint, hint. Let's shift your business into higher gear with automation. It is rapidly becoming a necessity, not just a luxury for entrepreneurs and business owners that are looking to grow without burning out. Automating repetitive tasks, businesses can save so much time, maintain consistency, and create a more seamless experience for both their customers, their team members, their staff, themselves. And many entrepreneurs are struggling with overwhelming daily tasks. There's so many tabs open on our screen every day, right? Like we're trying to flip between this program and that app and all of the things and plug them all together and make them all work seamlessly. And we're actually kind of stuck in the weeds. Without automation, it's difficult to scale your business, super hard to maintain quality and keep up with growth demands. And we find entrepreneurs just kind of burning out and spinning out. And I'm super grateful that when I decided to start creating this self-made hub thing and helping people with infusing tech into their business, that Natasha jumped on board and became the automation guru, because it is not my sweet spot. However, I do want lots of automation in our business because it's what makes the wheels turn so that we can take a break and spend family time and Christmas time and holiday time and vacation time and all of those things and still have our businesses working on autopilot. So let's dig right in and let's talk to our automation guru around here, Natasha. What does it mean to automate your business, and why is it so crucial for success in today's business world?
You know, it's a great question to start with. And you said a little phrase during your intro of, we have so many tabs open. We have so many tabs open, and you're like, I cannot keep up, and I don't have the time, and all the things, right? And so I started many years ago of going, how do I shut some of these tabs down? What we know as entrepreneurs, those tabs do need to be open. We need all of those things to be running for our businesses to maintain or scale, right? And when you're in that growth period, or you're trying to go into growth period in that momentum, it seems like the tabs just duplicate, like you got 4 times the tabs, 10x the tabs, and then you got mentors that are like 10x your business, and you're like, I just don't think I have the capacity. Well, that is why it is so crucial to find what in your business you can put on automation. What are some of the things that don't need you in the moment, hands-on, voice happening in that moment? Are there things that you can still have your personality, your authenticity in there, but you turn it on autopilot? For instance, when somebody brand new joins our hub and becomes a hub member, there's things we need to get sent to them immediately. So they have access, they have instructions, they have some tutorials. It's still from us. It's still created by us with our brand voice, our authenticity, our personality. But those things need to happen like immediately. Well, In order to do that, we need to put it on automation. So that's just one small example of what we have on automation. But let's just like go into today's market. Today's market, everybody wants it now, immediately. So think about social media. Every single entrepreneur we work with is using social media to market their business. And if they happen to have 3 Christmas parties in a single day where they need to be present with family and they have a post going crazy wanting more info, those individuals are expecting info right away. And if you cannot get them the info right away, well, it's a simple search on Google or Facebook or Instagram to find the next person that will give them the information right away. So that's where automation comes into place in the market today of everybody wanting answers, or they want their ability to get into something immediately. And
Yeah.
so you have to. You have to.
So you kind of took my next question and ran with it about giving some examples in your business that would benefit you the most. But one part of that is, which ones would you start with? So what would you recommend? Like if somebody's sitting back going, all right, I'm hearing you. I'm going to listen to the rest of this podcast episode. I'm going to get all your tips for automation. But let's jump ahead just a second. Where would you tell them to start with automation?
So if you have customers, right, where you know you already have customers that deserve your customer service, they deserve your follow-up, then that's an easy place to start. That they already bought. They're already loving it. They're already invested, right? They want to get results with whatever product or opportunity you have. So turn some of that follow-up, those touch points on autopilot so you can have, number one, a better customer experience for them. And number two, you get more time freedom. And number three, let me just tell you, this is the result that happens when you add this in, is you have retention through the roofs and you have upsells happening automatically. That
Oh
would
yeah.
be an easy start right there.
Okay. Awesome. So let's expand on that a little bit more. Um, Give us some examples of maybe some customer experience and retention workflows, or things that you would do to automate that customer retention or customer experience.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning of when a customer says yes, they purchase, right? Um, a lot of times, I mean, being in the network marketing space and traditional business space, somebody buys, you're like, you're celebrating, you just got a sale. But then we're like, okay, well, they're going to get their products or they're going to get their service and they're just going to be happy and they're good to go. Like, it's all good. Well, that's where it should start. That's the moment having those touches should start. And that's where you gain that know, like, and trust. You think you gained their know, like, and trust when they said yes and purchased. You just started to get that. Now it's time to really get them to know, like, and trust you and fall even more in love with the results they're going to have, right? That vision of what it's going to have for them. So as soon as they order, they should go into a drip sequence, an automation, a campaign. I'll name it all. They all mean the same thing. A workflow, right? It's all the same. You might have heard it differently, but they purchase, they go into this. You're going to send them initially just a thank you. Thank you. How simple is that? Thank you for purchasing. Thank you for joining. Thank you, whatever, right? And how they get access or what they can expect from now until then, right? So let's just go with a product that's getting shipped from a company. So thank you so much for your order. I'm super excited for you to get it when it arrives in the next 3 to 5 days. Please open it immediately. Let me know if there's anything missing. Everything's there, and all the things. So you can actually set them up to let you know. But most people do that, and then they didn't have the next one because they're just waiting for somebody to reach out to them and say, hey, my package arrived. Well, guess what? Chances are like 5% of people will actually reach out to you and say, hey, I got my package. And so
True.
I started to do that, right? I had that first one on automation back in the day. And then I wouldn't get any of those responses. So guess what happens as a busy mom entrepreneur is I would just let it slip my mind, right? Like in 5 days, they should have had their package. And it would just slip by. And next thing you know, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's been like 20 days.
Ugh. I think about all the time, sorry to cut you off, but I think about all the times you and I did a similar business, same company. We didn't work together. I just think about, oh my gosh, if we would have had this system that we have now, we would have known what we knew back then. The
Yeah.
thousands of samples I sent out for these 5-day experiences with our product, how things could have been so much different with this
Yeah.
automation. Oh my gosh.
Oh my, yes. And so knowing, like, even if you were shipping samples, you know your estimated date. Like, I knew if I sent a sample, no matter what in the US, it was going to get to them in 4 days or less. So I could set up that next automation of going, hey, your sample or your product should be in your mailbox, if not already in your house. And then I could walk them through the steps of getting started. Because here's the thing I found in business: not many people actually want to ask how to use something. They're like, I got this. I'm just gonna
Yep.
do it myself, or I'm gonna wait until next week. I don't need to talk to her or him about it. And the reality is, you can urge them to get started with ease and just that like confidence. Having those follow-ups in place are not bugging them. It's just giving them the customer service they deserve. And that's one thing that people don't like look at it the same. They're like, oh, I don't want to bug them. You're not. They purchased or they asked for info. Even if we want to go down that road of automation, they asked for info. You're not bugging them. You're actually giving them the
Right.
service they requested. So then I always put in that follow up of what's coming next. Like, all right, so they should be started. Here's how to get started. Here's the best way to get started for the best results. I also put in there any objections that might come into place, right? Those objections of like, oh, but what if it makes my stomach hurt? Or, oh, what if I get a headache? Or, oh, do I really have to drink all that water? Or do I really have to do that? Is this going to happen? I knew what could come. And so I just prepared people for that, right? So if your product has some of those things, add that in there. Like, hey, if you notice this, that's normal. This is how we combat that. Or, hey, if you notice this, that's a great thing. It's working. You're just giving them the confidence to even have that bumpy road right there. Those are conversations easy for people in automation, hard when it comes to the manual, because you get that message from that individual complaining about something. You're like, oh my gosh, let's just handle it up front. And then they have a plan to put in place. Automation is great for that. And then as that goes on, you think about the journey you want to take that person on. This is where it gets fun. And this is where you get to put your own personality into it of like, if you were a brand new customer or a brand new business partner or a brand new to a walk-in, maybe spa, massage, or personal training, I mean, whatever, insurance company, and you're like, okay, this is the first contact. Here's what I want to say. But then what's the journey I want to take them on? What do I want to take them on in a sense of, I'd love to touch them once a week, twice a week, once every 2 weeks. Maybe it's a combination of that where I can send them testimonials, personal experiences. I can send them value driven data or information, some research, knowing that, hey, they wanted info about weight loss. Cool. I can send them anything about weight loss that's going to help support their goals, regardless of if they are a customer or not, right? So you think about the
Right.
journey you want to take them on, you map it out, you create it, whether those are emails, SMS, sometimes they're in DMs. You create it and you put it in place. And it's like push a button and it just works for you. And
Oh,
it doesn't stop there, Jess. And I don't know if we're going to go into it, but once you have it created, that doesn't mean it's like create it and forget it. It's create
right.
it, let it work, but make some adjustments if you notice that you need to add something, or maybe you need to like, that one's not working. I'm asking him to drink 100 ounces of water on like week 1. That's not working so well. So maybe we drop that down to like 40 ounces. So you start to evaluate it and you keep adjusting until it's pretty awesome.
Well, one of my questions was like, what's one high impact automation you'd suggest implementing right away? And I know there's one that we've gotten a lot of results with, and it's one that you can kind of adjust and add on to over time. We start off with it being like so many touches, and you could actually make this a year long if you really
Yeah.
wanted to keep adding on. So what is that system? What do you call that system? I'm going to test you right
We
now.
I call that the conversion impact system,
You
because
got it.
I did, because it's truly not just 5 points of contact or 14 points of contact. It is a true conversion to impact system. And that just depends on what they signed up for, what they need that journey of experience with, right? So sometimes if somebody just pops in and we have an event coming up, let me just give you a couple examples. We have an event coming up and it's only like 8 days until the event. Well, they opted in. I want to give them automated follow up to the event and then obviously right after. Well, do I want to touch them every single day leading up to it? Probably not. They might unsubscribe to me. But if I drive value enough, they probably won't, no matter how many times I touch them, if I have the right content in there. So I start to look at that and go, okay, I have 8 days until the event. Let me touch them today as you're registered. And then maybe in 2 days, like, hey, here's the sneak peek of what you're going to get. So I'm like giving them FOMO, fear of missing out if they don't come to the event. And then it's going to be like up to the event every day, 5 minutes before. And so I take them on that journey of how would I like to be reminded of an event? So that might be like 8 touches over that event plus follow up, right? But then I have, okay, somebody asked me for information on social media. They're like, more info about X product. I'm going to start and I'm like, okay, until they convert, which could be on day 2, could be on day 10, could be on day 30, could be on day 65. Until they convert, I'm going to take them on this journey of providing value. Yes, call to actions are getting them started on the product or opportunity, whatever that direction is. But it's like, how can I touch them with value driven content, testimonial, stories sell? I don't care what product, service, or opportunity you have. If you're in insurance, if you're a, oh my gosh, for some reason on Instagram, I keep getting these butt lift doctors. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, why
That's
am I
wild.
getting
I
this?
mean, maybe it's a new niche for us.
But like literally it was like they need follow up because people are like more info, like it is going nuts on there. And then I'm interested in the comments. So like they're like, I'd love one of the, I was like, wow, this is a big service. I never even knew. But like no matter what service or that you have, there is always automation that needs to be put in place. Always. When you're like, oh, I don't need it for mine. Nobody, like, it just doesn't make sense. No, it does. You just haven't seen it full picture to see how beneficial it will be to scale your business.
Yeah, I think
So,
sometimes it's so
yeah,
crazy. People think, well, gosh, where do I get started with that? That's too much to put in a place. I can't put 14 or 20 email sequences. I don't even know how to start that. How would I
yeah,
get my email or how would I get my social media to automatically start? It's like you got to take baby steps though. Like you got to get started because this isn't going away. This is just going to get more intense. So the people who do deploy it are going to be outpacing you by a long shot, right?
yeah. And that was one thing. We have an accelerator program here at Self Made. And that was one thing we heard a few times from our accelerators were like, oh my gosh, like, and we're upfront, like automation is a beast.
Yeah,
It
it is.
takes some time. It's a planning, it's plan it out, create it. But what we heard then after was so many of them were like so grateful that we urged them, we gave them the step by step, we showed them how to do it because now on autopilot, they were getting $400 sales left and right on autopilot. And they're like, in one weekend, this was one of them. Angela was like, in one weekend of turning that on, I turned it on in the middle of the week. By the end of the weekend, I had already made like almost $1,200 in automated sales, all because I finally just stopped,
And
learned, and
yeah.
implemented.
Yeah. I loved when she came back and told us that story because that was just our last round of our accelerators. And it was like the light bulbs were going on like crazy when they were finally sitting down to set this up. And it's just like one of those tasks, like organizing, oh my gosh, my furnace room. Okay. Like it's a storage room, it's a furnace room. We keep saying that if we would just organize it, it would cut out so much time wasted from trying to find things that are or rebuying things and spending more money on things that are probably already in our storage room just because we need to clean it out. But this is that like one ugly task you don't want to get to. It's kind of like that,
It
except
is.
for cleaning out my furnace room is not going to make me a $1,200 sale in the next 3 days because I set it up. Okay. So it's kind of like that though. Like we just have to sit down and do it. And some of these tasks are going to just make your 2025 off the charts. So do it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I started implementing some automation back before the
Mhm.
whole self-made
Yeah.
era, and I had my network marketing businesses, and I was implementing some automation, there's a few different tools out there. Like I could do some email stuff with like constant contact, or I was setting up some like automated messaging on social media with a tool called ManyChat. And so there's lots of different tools out there, right? And obviously we have our own, and we're pretty proud of what we have put together. So top automation tools or platforms for business owners, what are you going to suggest? I obviously know it's probably going to be self-made. Don't want to, beat around the bush
Right.
and act like it's not. Is there reasons why, like what are the reasons why we really push everybody towards that, and why we created it in the first place for these very specific things?
Yeah, and just to give like that newest person just getting started some examples of what I used when I was getting started, and then the comparison. I'll go down that road. So when I first got started, you said them, right? I was in constant contact because I wanted professional looking emails. I wanted to be able to track analytics, who opened it, who unsubscribed, who, right, who's did it fail, and like, oh, is it a incorrect email, or did they say .con instead of .com, right? I wanted all those analytics. Okay, great. And that worked. It worked great. It helped me grow my list to like 15,000 people. But at that level, at 15,000 individuals that I wasn't emailing every day to everyone, right? I had it segmented out, was costing me just to have the contacts in there. Not even like the sends, just the contacts was costing me $195 a month right there. Just my
Oh,
constant contact. $195 a month. Okay. Then I had my ManyChat, which was great. It worked awesome. I could like, automate my stuff. I could get them on my list. I could do all those things. Well, what happened there is none of that converted over into my CRM, into my list. So now I have two lists. That was my first problem. I have a list of emails here. I have a list of DM individuals over here, but they weren't together. So I had no idea. Like I could not communicate in one place to anybody. But that was costing me about like two accounts, so $50, right? $25 each because of the amount of followers I had on there.
yep.
So now I'm at 50 for ManyChat. I'm at 195 for constant contact. They're not communicating, they're not talking to each other, but they were doing their job. Okay, cool. It was working.
Sure.
And then here comes text message marketing. And I'm like, oh, I got to get on this because 98% of texts that get sent are read within the first 2 minutes. That's a
Yeah.
high open
So
rate.
much
I need
better.
to do that. Right. And so for that, I was like, okay, here's Project Broadcast. Cool. Well, all I had there was just these numbers half the time. I didn't even have names, I didn't have emails. And I'm like, well, who am I talking to? Because they've opted in and all it was grabbing was their phone number. And I was like, okay, this is great. And it was costing me, my constant contact was costing me, I think, like $35 to $40. But I wasn't using it for like the mass. I was doing more email than I was doing texting. So here we go. We got 195, we got 50, and we got 40. Right there is just that. That's not including all the other things I had, like website and all. We won't even talk about that. ClickFunnels, all the other things. But those were just my automation things right there. And so when you introduced me to what you were doing and the business that you had created, the Self-Made Hub, and I was like, hold on. Even as just like not looking at it as a business and a business partnership, I was like, just this platform alone is going to save me from all the things I had to just the platform. I was like, it's going to save me almost $700 a month. This
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I wasn't even thinking of the simplicity of having one CRM with all my contacts in one place where I can just have an omni-channel inbox. I'd always wanted an omni-channel inbox, which just meant anyone who messages in, texts in, or emails in, I have one place to check. So I
I
don't
mean,
drop the ball.
it's not like we didn't try to build it ourselves 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
we
Okay.
try.
Uh-huh.
So, those things are all the benefits of having an all in one platform.
Yeah.
And, right there saved me money, saved me time and efficiency in my business. Like everybody should be looking for those three things: save money, save time, and increase your efficiency. That's why the all in one platform is the best.
Yeah. And we have that here at Self Made Hub. Shameless plug, just absolutely shameless plug. Okay, so I know some people are sitting back. I have just a couple more questions for you. Some people are
Cool.
sitting back and going, yeah, 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 all this AI, all this automation, it seems so spammy and it seems so unauthentic and it doesn't sound like my voice. But
Mhm.
that's so not true. And I know that's so not true just because I know the inside of it. But can you help explain to the audience, those listening, how you can still implement automation and some AI in there and free up time for people and have amazing follow up because fortune's in the follow up, you guys, and y'all ain't doing it, and we know it. So you might as well put it on automation. What's worse, it sounding a little bit like it's automation or not following up at all? Don't let me get on my soapbox. I'm going to pass this question back off to you, Natasha. But how can we help them understand that just because we're putting on automation doesn't mean they have to lose their voice?
You know, I felt that same way. Number one, with automation back in the day when I was like, oh gosh, if I just like schedule these emails, they're gonna know I scheduled them. Like they're gonna know. And then I was like, I still wrote them. It's still me. I just
Right.
decided to send it out on a earlier, like created it and I scheduled it for a few days later or a month later or what have you, right? And I was like, "Oh, this is silly." Like I called myself out. I was like, "This is so silly that you think this. Like, who cares? Like, people would rather hear from you than not hear from you." And then AI came out and I resisted it for a while because I was like, oh no, there's no robot gonna be able to say how I say it. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. And then I started seeing people use AI and I was like, oh, they're using AI. Like you could tell. And I was like, yeah, definitely not doing that. Like I was so against it. And
Yep.
then I sat back and I said, it's not going anywhere. It's actually moving faster than I can even keep up with. Either I jump on and figure this out for how I want to use it, or I'm going to be left behind.
Yeah.
That's the two choices I had. And
And
so
we're
I said,
still at that choice, just so everybody knows. We are still at that choice, heading from 24 into 25. Guys, you will get left behind. There is no like, this is maybe going to go away. Let me just ignore it and brush it under the rug and hope that it's not going to go away. And once you do it, you will not regret it because you're going to save yourself so much time and energy and make yourself more money. Sorry, had to say that.
it's so true because like I sat back, I probably took a couple weeks and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to dive in. This is going to be my personal development focus. And if you're not doing personal development and focusing in on something,
Yeah.
you need to. But I'm like, for 2 weeks, I'm just going to go head first. I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to make it work for me. And that's what was missing was it works for everyone the way they want to use it. But I wanted to use it in the most authentic way possible. And so I learned from expert in AI because everybody's an expert. I don't even know if they were or not, but I learned it from them saying, just teach the brain. Like you got to train the brain of the AI to be you. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? And so I just started talking to it and I was like, ask me questions. Like I started asking them to ask me questions. Them, I say AI because I'm not sure who's on the other side of it.
Right. Who's
Um,
them?
who's them? And I started asking them questions to ask me questions so they could get to know me, my business, my family, my voice, my personality. And I just, for like almost solid 7 days, would spend 30 minutes answering questions every day about me and my life, my vision, my goals, all the things. And I was like, okay. And then I started testing it and going, all right, with my brand voice and my personality, I want to send an email to this person, very detailed, of who I was sending it to, what I was selling, and what my result was I wanted out of it. And then it was like, I couldn't have wrote that any better. It sounded just like me. It used my language and like I have different words I use that aren't maybe so professional, but it was in the emails. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this sounds just like me." But I took the time to
Right.
give it all that it needed from me for it to be able to be my authentic voice and who I was. Now, do I take those emails and this is just me saying this is how I use it and what it works best for me? I take what they give me, what I request, and I adjust. I'm like, this is awesome foundation. Now I want to adjust a few things. I want to make this sound a little bit more. I want to give a little bit more context to that story because they don't have all the context. So I started doing that. And then I started realizing most of my emails, or if I used it for social media or I used it for really anything, was sounding identical to me. I'm like, this thing is crazy awesome and kind of scary.
Yeah.
But it saves me time. It now is a place where if I'm like, oh, I got to get something out quick, or I write something up, this is what I love it for. I'll write something up because I still love to write. And I'll write something up, whether it's an SMS or it's an email or it's just a caption. And I'm like, adjust this to be more my personality with a little fun twist to it.
Sure.
And I just add a couple words and I'm like, that's brilliant. I would never have thought of that word to use. So I love it for that too.
Okay, before we wrap up here, what are some common mistakes that people make when they're implementing automation? How can they avoid some of this?
The number one common mistake that, oh, that
Or where
they,
or just where it can go wrong? Where do some business owners go wrong when they execute it?
it's, it's setting it up incorrectly. That's a big one. When all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, why'd that go out? And it's like, oops.
Oh, like the other day we had a little
Yeah. Yeah. A
yeah.
little hiccup, right? It happens. It's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, it's 12 days till the event. Why'd the 10-day email go out? It's those little things. And and that's where you gotta, when you do automation, you have to have a clear mind. So you gotta eliminate your distractions and you gotta go, let me follow the plan and let me implement this and then hit publish, right? So that's a big thing, is making sure you have zero distractions. You have enough time to just like, let me make sure this automation is set up perfectly. So it just click publish and then let it do its thing, right? That's number one. Number two is you get it all set up and you have the wrong trigger. You have the wrong thing kicking it off,
Ugh.
because that happens. And it's something, again, distractions or just not being thorough with your review of it before you do it. Testing is another big thing, but having the wrong trigger. My automation isn't working. Okay, the first thing I go and look at is the trigger. And I'm like, well, it's because you're trying to get it to automate off of Instagram, but you have the trigger as a Facebook comment. Well, they can't talk to each other. So we just got to change that to Instagram and then everything's going to work. So that's a simple kind of, I chuckle about those often. And then the final one that I'll say is just having it sound so robotic.
Not
Just
adding.
because you're automating it doesn't mean you need to lose yourself in the experience you want to take them on. And that's why I talk so much about that customer experience, is because it is so important to make sure you're connecting with them. You don't lose that connection. You actually gain connection when you put automation in place, because these individuals hear from you. They get to learn about you, learn from you more than they would if you did it on manual. So make sure you are not sounding like a robot and truly touching them with value.
Yeah. Okay. All good things. All good things. So we're going to wrap up here. I want to mention, obviously, we have the Self-Made Hub. So we're heading into 2025, and we've shaken some things up around here and created some new membership levels. And so now we have our very first one called Launch, and that's really for the person who maybe has used ManyChat in the past or considered using a ManyChat type tool, but also wanted their CRM attached right to it. So they didn't have to connect something else like Zapier and then connect it to a constant contact and all the other things just to build into a CRM. So it also comes with some more tools like a social media scheduler. So you can schedule your social media posts on 7 different platforms. There's so much that comes with Launch. And it's a very inexpensive tool to get started with. So if you're like, where do I get started? Let's start there. If you're not ready to build in all of the email automation and all the 14-point drip sequence and all those campaigns, great. Let's start with just Launch and get your social media keywords automated so that you can start collecting name, phone number, and email. And we can get you sort of moving in automation world. And then you can always gradually step up. And then we have launched a new product called Build. So we had those people that were like, ready for the social media, would love to add in email and SMS, but not quite ready to be building funnels and courses and all of that kind of stuff. So do you have a middle of the road thing? We didn't, we now do. So if you're like, hey, what we used to call the Hub Club, our smaller membership, didn't have email and SMS in it. Now we've got a middle of the road one that does. So now you can add in the email sequences and the SMS sequences and all of that awesome stuff, but not and have a bigger CRM, but not get lost in the sauce of building funnels and courses and all the other stuff that our platform will do for you. And then of course we have Creator. If you're like all in, ready to rock and roll, you have that. And like Natasha said, we have our accelerator that if you're like, hey, I want to get started in all of this, but I really need a little bit of more help from my friends. We have our next accelerator, depending on when you're listening to this, we have our next accelerator popping up here in a few weeks. You can get going in our accelerator. It's a 10-week course that you take with us. You meet with us every week. We're in like a mastermind setting. We can use all of those tools and you can learn really how to use them and build your own 14-point conversion sequence. I still don't know what Natasha calls it because I haven't memorized the name for her conversion implementation impact series. We used to call it 14-point conversion. Now it's something else, but we have all the tools that you need right here at the Self-Made Hub. So if you have some questions, just reach out to us. We are happy to answer those questions and make sure that we've got the tool that is right for you. We know we do. We want to make sure you know we do. And let's get started with that. A couple of our products have trials on the beginning of them, so you can just try before you even get started with them. So you can check out self-made.biz for all of that. But listen, today we discussed some powerful automation plays that you can implement into your business so you can help scale in 2025, you can help streamline your business in 2025, and you can improve your customer experience, your customer retention. You can give yourself some more valuable time back. You can give your family some time back, and you can make more money. I don't know what would be a better fit for your business than working with us here at the Self-Made Hub.
I have one thing to add to that real quick. Is she talked about these memberships and I talked about all the automation, and your mind might be going, I have no clue how to set that stuff up. Well, when you get your membership with us, we don't leave you just to the dust. Like, I'll figure it out. No, we have amazing templates and tutorials in there for you to just use, plug and play, make some adjustments. And I think that that's such a huge highlight of our membership, because when I got to Constant Contact, nobody helped me. Nobody
Right. You have a tech savvy mentor. Yeah, we have a program called the Social Sync. It's literally templates and everything already built for you to implement. So we'll jump off our sales bandwagon. Final words. We hope that you have gained a lot of insight from today and at least are thinking about making a plan for 2025 to infuse tech. If it's not January 7th yet, you should definitely get registered for our, actually it's past January 7th by the time this airs. So you can come back and maybe watch a replay of the Digital Shift Summit that we're going to be putting on. But next week's episode, you definitely want to join us because you're going to hear from someone who's in the network marketing industry. Her name is Shauna, and she is going to discuss with Natasha the pivotal role to infusing tech into their team and systems into their team, what that did to help them scale their business. And it was like within a week of just implementing a few of the things from the Self-Made Hub into their team and into their automated sequences that it just took on a whole new life for them and their team. You're going to be able to hear the story about what she's done, what they've done for their team infusing the Self-Made Hub. So definitely check out that episode. That will be next week. Natasha will be doing the interview. We are super grateful you joined us here today. We will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Digital Shift. We hope today's episode gave you the tools and inspiration to take your business to the next level.
Don't forget, we have something for everyone to help you scale smarter. Whether you're just getting started or ready to go all in, we've got you covered.
Start with 14 days of free access to the Self-Made Hub, our all-in-one platform to automate, optimize, and grow your business.
Looking for more? Check out our Self-Made membership, where you can work at your own pace with help from your tech-savvy mentors.
Or take it to the next level with our 10-week accelerator program. perfect for those ready to scale with expert guidance and systems all in one place.
And if you're looking for done-for-you options, from custom funnel builds to fully done-for-you marketing systems customized just for your business,
visit us at www.self-made.biz to explore all of our programs and tools and find the perfect fit for your business needs.
Let's make your digital shift a reality. See you next time.